Dc60, The Love Lake. Soul-touching and life-enhancing stories. The Love Lake. Our story is about a young girl of 10 years old, and her name is Jana. She's part of a family with several children, and at this moment of her life she is very confused. Confused mostly with the word love. Jana is always in love with everybody and everything, but very confused with the word love. She had heard her mother and dad tell each other, "I love you," and then shortly after or some days later they would fight with each other, arguing and even calling each other names. She remembered the time her parents had bought a new family car. Everybody loved the car, especially her father, and then, days later, the car didn't want to start. And she heard her dad yelling and swearing and actually saying that he hated the car. When she went with her father and mother to their self-owned business, she would also get confused about the word love. For her parents loved having their own business, but many times at home they would argue and even criticize the people working for them. It also got confused for Jana as her mom and dad would repeatedly tell her, "I love you," and then at times they became angry with her. She could not figure out what this love was all about. It was one evening after her parents had had some arguments and anger towards Jana, that her parents had gone out and left her and her brothers and sisters with a babysitter. Jana did not fall asleep, as her head was full of thoughts. After the babysitter had fallen asleep, Jana decided to step out of the house. She did not know why, but just wanted to walk around in the neighborhood, maybe to find some answers about love. Their wooden house was in a hilly neighborhood, a beautiful place with lots of trees. That evening there were no people in the street, and Jana felt no fear to walk in the darkness of the evening. She just walked around. Very shortly after she had left the house, she heard the barking of a dog. She went up to one of the hills in the direction of the barking and ended up by a deserted and broken down old wooden house. A lot of weeds were growing around the house. Again she heard the barking of the dog and walked around the house. In the backyard she saw a puppy on a very long chain, chasing around and barking at the same time. The moment the dog saw Jana, it stopped barking and came close up to her. She bent down and stroked the dog and said, "Who are you, little puppy?" And then to her great amazement the dog looked in her eyes and spoke, "My name is Bobo." Jana fell backwards on her butt. "What is happening here?" "And who are you?" Bobo the dog asked. It took a moment for her to catch herself and feel the magic of the moment. She answered, "My name is Jana." "Jana, what are you doing so late in the evening on the street?" Bobo asked. She explained that she decided to go for a walk and maybe to find some answers about love. She explained all the things that had happened and that she was very confused about all of it. "Maybe I can help you," said Bobo the dog. "How is that possible? You are chained and you cannot do anything." "Wait a minute. Let me finish talking," said the dog. "If I am free, I can show you a place where you will understand what love is all about. Once I lived there myself, but I chose to become a dog to find out about love, what was all about by being a dog. I heard that dogs get played a lot with and would get lots of pats on the back, and parents and children loved them, and it seemed to me, at least at that time in my existence, that it would be lots of fun. That's why I decided to become a dog. But it was as if I put a spell on myself, for soon after being with the family that lived in this house, My understanding of love became an illusion. There were many days that the children did not play with me. At times I got spanked or kicked by them, and as they grew older they had no interest in playing with me at all. They put me on a very long chain, and when the family moved away from the house, they even forgot me. Because of this long chain, I have been able to survive, as I can get to the bushes, and I can eat a little of everything that is around. You put a spell on yourself? Jana asked him. But I know from fairy tales that any spell can be broken. Yes, one who is looking for real love can only break the spell, and I think you are my rescuer. You are my savior, and you are here to come and unchain me, said Bobo. But look at the size of the links. How can I do that? I have no key or anything. Trust me. Just take the chain in your hands and close your eyes and just break the chain with your hands, said Bobo. Look at my hands, Bobo. I cannot do that. I'm just a small girl. Jana, you have to trust. And when you really want to see and understand what love is all about, you will have to get through this test. Jana closed her eyes, took the chain, and then, as if by magic, the chain crumbled in her hands. As she opened her eyes, the dark was gone, but hovering in front of her was a beautiful fairy. The fairy voice was soft and full of music when she said, "Thank you, Jana. Let me introduce myself to you. My name is not Bobo the dog. I am Bibi, the magic fairy from the fairy tribe called the Globekins." Jana kept staring at her. Bibi was half Chinese and half Creole. "You look so different from any fairy I could imagine," she told Bibi. And then Bibi explained her that all of the Globekin fairies were combinations of two existing cultures. Chinese American, Indians, Indian African, Chinese African, Mexican and Japanese, Japanese African, Greek Korean, Mayan European. Every possible combination that you can think of exists in our tribe. We all live united, and we see no difference between the fairies, as we respect each other and ourselves. We only have one language, which is the language of love. And I'm so happy that I'm free. Now I can free you and help you to understand what love is all about. Follow me, she said. I will take you to the Love Lake. Where? What lake? We do not have a lake in our town, said Jana. Just follow me, said Bibi. And as Jana walked down the hill, following the fairy, it started to rain. But it did not rain raindrops. They were drops of colorful stars and drops of colorful water, which did not make her wet. Close your eyes again, Bibi told her. The moment Jana closed her eyes, she felt different. And when she opened her eyes, she found herself sitting in a glass boat on a river, which the moment before had been the street. The colorful raindrops and stars coming down had created a river, made out of colorful drops and stars. Through the bottom of the glass boat they were sitting in, Jana saw lots and lots of beautiful shining diamonds and crystals. And then there was another thing that was unusual about the river. The stream was going both ways. The flow of the river went upstream and downstream at the same time. They were going upstream. What is this river? Asked Jana. This is the river of love, said Bibi. It comes from the Love Lake, which we are heading. And it is through this river that everything in the world lives. It is only through this river that everything can exist. Jana could feel that the stream carried them away faster and faster, and flashes of light were coming from all sides. She said, Bibi, what is this? Do not worry, Jana. We are just passing through many dream worlds. Just lay down and rest for a while. It will not be very long before we are at the Love Lake. As Jana awoke, she felt now the boat was quietly drifting in the water. It must have been a very large lake, just by the sound of it, but it was very hard to see because although it was daylight, there was a fog hanging over the entire lake. She looked over the side of the glass boat and could see huge colorful plants and huge colorful flowers floating all around them on the water. "Where are we?" Bibi asked in her ear. "We have reached the Love Lake," Jana said. "I feel that there is something special in this lake, just looking at these huge flowers and leaves and water lilies." "Yes, it is beautiful, isn't it?" "You talk about beautiful? Huh, just wait till the lake wakes up by the moonlight." "Why don't you rest a little more, because a lot of adventures will be coming soon," said Bibi. "But why are all the flowers closed?" asked Jana as she lay down again. "This is the magic of this lake. All flowers of life here wake up with the moonlight. Just go to sleep." And the fairy threw sparks of magic dust out of her hand, and Jana fell asleep again. As she woke up, it was time that the moon was coming up. The fog had disappeared, and she could see that the lake was huge, surrounded by a forest with big and beautiful trees. Looking in the water, she saw so many beautiful big huge flowers the size of a living room. Huge colorful butterflies were darting around, and she could also see very far in the distance in the lake a huge palace made out of flower petals and plant leaves. Streams of colorful water came out of every window and door of this palace. "What is that in the distance?" "That's the Palace of Love, but you will experience that later." Jana looked further around and saw many other glass boats with children in them. "What are they doing here?" "Well, all these children have fairies too, and they are also here to learn about love, for they are just as confused as you are." Then at the very moment when the moon was completely up, all flowers and water lilies opened up slowly. Magical scents came out of these flowers and rose up in the air, and from the inside of each one different kinds of lights were shining. In every flower Jana looked into, she saw fairies slowly waking up from their daytime nap. Inside every flower there was a different scene. Some flowers housed a family of fairies. Other flowers were like workshops where things were made. Others looked like shops where things could be bought. Some had playgrounds on the inside loaded with toys to play with. A light breeze came up, which was as special as everything else around him. It brought with it soft, beautiful music tones. It was the music of love itself. "Here is where your real journey begins," said Bibi. "You will be visiting various of these flowers." Jana interrupted Bibi and said, "But I can't possibly do that. Just look how small the furniture and the rest of the things are." "You don't worry about that. You will see what happens when you step out of this boat." Jana's first visit was at the Purple Rose, the house of Pini and Pano, a Globikin couple. It was as Bibi had told Jana, for as Jana stepped out of the boat into the Purple Rose, she became the size of Pini and Pano, the size of the Globikin fairies. She was welcomed by the entire family and was thankful, for she would spend quite some time with this family. Pini was half African, half Mexican, and Pano half Indian, half Greek. Their children had other combinations. It was as if the whole globe was represented in one family. The furniture was made out of old branches. The curtains, the carpets, and bed sheets were all just beautiful, colorful leaves of flowers, which seemed never to get old or lose their color. "How is it that everything is so beautiful?" Jana asked. And Penny answered, "Everything that you see here is made from everlasting love. The house, the flowers, the branches, the leaves, furniture, and this love brings us shelter. It gives us a place to eat together and have comfort, and in return we give love back by taking good care of this house. It is beautiful." On one of the walls she saw a big glass mirror with a beautiful frame, and on the mirror a saying was written. It read, "Speak and treat each other with unconditional love." "What is that mirror about?" Penny asked Jana. "This is a magical mirror. It constantly brings us information and tells us how to love and how to work with love. You will see during your stay here that sometimes information changes, and it helps us when we forget to see the love in everything." Together they wandered through the entire house, and then Jana discovered that each room had a mirror. In the kitchen, the saying read, "Food is love." In the dining room it read, "Eat in peace." In the bedroom the magical mirror read, "Love forever." During her stay she asked many questions, and all the sayings were explained to her. The first explanation Jana received was in the kitchen, where it read, "Food is love." For Penny explained, "You must prepare food with all the good thoughts in your heart, and with all the love we have. Because it is not only the food that we are going to eat, but also what thoughts we put into the food. The more loving thoughts we have, the more nourishing it will be for the entire family." After the meal was prepared they set the table in the dining room, and then the mirror read, "Eat in peace." And it was explained to Jana by Pano, in order to feel the love of the food and be thankful for the nourishment, we cannot just keep on chit-chatting constantly. Of course, there could be some small conversation, but when we do not feel, taste and sense the food, we cannot feel, taste and sense the love of it. In the bedrooms the saying read, "Love forever." This was explained to Jana in the following days. Pini and Pano explained to Jana, "All of us are made from love. Because our Creator is love, and so the love of the Creator never dies, never ceases to exist. And it is for that reason that life and love is forever." Then Jana asked, "And what about death?" Pini and Pano told her to wait, as she would get an answer in one of the other houses. Some things cannot be explained right now, but you will receive an explanation a little later. Jana lived in the Purple Rose, and she discovered many beautiful gestures of love, especially in the living room. In her family, everybody was used to start talking whenever they wanted about any subject, whether it was appropriate or not. In the Purple Rose house of Pini and Pano, it was always first asked if one had time to listen and if they were able to have a conversation. Permission was first asked. For Jana, this was an incredible experience, as it was a very peaceful home. When there were difficult conversations in the living room, the saying of the magical mirror changed to help Pini and Pano to communicate differently. So Jana learned a lot from the mirror. It sometimes would say, "No power games when you are talking. No authorities. There need to be two winners after each conversation." Or, "Don't try to change the other, just express how you feel. Just learn to speak up without trying to hurt the other." It was also a beautiful gesture when the parents would have a conversation with one of the children. They would sit close while having the conversation. When things broke down and in need of repair, it was also done with love. There were no expressions of being displeased, no arguments between them or family members being angry that there was work to be done. All was done with the understanding that love gave everything that they had, and they in return gave their love back. Through all this, Yana's adventures of love and experiencing and understanding love became clearer. Next, she spent a lot of time in the business of Pini and Pano. It was a business of making clothes, and there were many workers together working in that business. And again, the magical mirrors were in each room helping Yana understand how these people work together without arguments. Although Pini and Pano were in charge, they never raised their voices or played power games with the employees. No punishments were given to make them feel who was the boss. Everybody worked in harmony to make beautiful clothes. In her conversations with Pini and Pano, they explained to her that business and making money was just there to provide each individual with food and shelter, and when there was an opportunity to have a bigger business, it was to give other people the same opportunity so they could provide their families with food, shelter, and clothing. Again, like her experience in the Purple Rose, she was told that they were just the caretaker of the business for as long as it would last, because it belonged to the power of love, to the creating waters of love. In the meantime, they would do their best to keep the business going, to keep themselves happy by working with love and to provide others with beautiful clothes because all their clothes were made with love. Yana went from family to family, from one business to another, and she got to know more and more about love from the Globicans. It was also amazing that all of them were really taking care of themselves by nourishing their body and doing some physical work or exercise to keep the body in good condition. This too was explained to Yana, that the body was made from love and out of love, and in return, to keep this love going and to appreciate and respect this love, it was necessary to care about that body in the best way possible. When some of the Globicans became sick or unwell, they were treated with love. Globicans who experienced discomfort just saw the sickness or discomfort as a message, and the mirrors helped by giving more information to them, explaining why this was happening to their body. So instead of getting upset and trying to force the situation, it was an adventure in becoming better again. When one of the Globicans died, there was a celebration, just as there was a celebration when a Globican was born. There were tears of joy, and there was no fear of passing on, because each individual lived fully with love their entire life. They knew that when the body ceased to exist, life would continue because life and love was forever. Yana was taught that death was just a part of the experience, just as trees and plants and flowers and butterflies would die. But in actuality, it was not death, but just a transformation about life and love into another body. Life in the love lake started only when the moon came up, and every morning, before the sunrise, it always started to rain, and slowly each flower closed its petals, protecting itself against the rain. The rain had always this incredible smell and came down in all the colors of the rainbow, just like the lake itself. Each day Yana would ask where this was coming from, and every one always replied that soon she would find out. Then the day came when Yana was picked up once again by Bibi the fairy and brought to the huge palace. Getting closer to this magical place, which was made out of leaves and flowers, colorful water was coming out from every window and door, flowing into the love lake. The boat found its way into the palace. The colors inside the palace were even more beautiful and beyond description. Yana saw that on the walls of the entire palace were hanging uncountable mirrors. Every mirror had several fairies hovering in front of it. These fairies looked into the mirrors, which were the mirrors in the houses of the Globekins, and when there was help needed, the fairies would write different sayings. These messages would then appear in the mirrors at the Globekins' houses and businesses. Bibi and Jana finally reached the crown chamber. Jana expected to see another Globekin or fairy to be sitting on the throne, but actually there was no throne. She saw a beautiful fountain from which water was flowing in all colors, flowing down into the palace, out of the windows and doors, into the love lake. Now she understood that the rain she had felt was just the water from the love lake, which evaporated and created clouds. These love clouds came down again in the form of colorful rain. Everything was about love. The glass bow that held Jana and Bibi came closer and closer to the fountain, and suddenly a voice came from the fountain. "Hello, Jana. I am the fountain of love, and I hope you have a better understanding of what love is all about." The voice asked her, "Do you have any further questions about love?" "Yes. In my world there is sometimes so much cruelty. There are people who are bad, and what about them? Is love not there in them?" The voice of the fountain started laughing. "Love created everything, and love is within everything and everybody, even in the most evil persons. Even when you have a very bad thought inside of you, there is love, because without love it could not exist." "Then why are people so confused and getting angry with those they love very much?" asked Jana. The fountain answered, "It is only that they forget to see that everything comes from love and is made out of love. It is just a matter of understanding, and hopefully when you go home, you will understand the world a little bit better. Understand that love in your world mostly is misunderstood. In many minds, love means just having those around you that give you smiles and are happy all the time. Love is only mentioned when things are going smooth. But in your world, you also know that there is another side to the easy days and happy smiling faces. But also, those are made from love. It is all just an experience. We must forgive others as we must forgive ourselves when we lose the understanding of love, moment to moment." "But how will I remember moment to moment?" said Jana. "Anytime you lose the understanding of love, just look around and you will find the magical mirrors, and you will see the information which helps you at that moment to love everything in that moment." And anytime, Jana, when you want to come back to the Love Lake and the world of the Globekins, you're welcome to do so. Jana was very happy. The boat turned around and slowly found its way back into the Love Lake, downstream, further and further away from the lake and flowers and magical world of the Globekins. They traveled for some time in the glass boat, and Jana fell asleep. As she woke up, she saw the river had changed back into the street where once they had entered the river. Then Jana asked, "Is the river of love coming from the love lake everywhere and connected to everything?" "Correct," said Bibi. "This river is connected to everything and everybody, including the street. It is the river of love, which comes and goes from the fountain of love. Go now and enjoy your world with a different understanding, and remember what the fountain of love has taught you." But before they said their goodbyes, Bibi spoke again. "Jana, just watch out that you don't fall in the same trap as I did. Remember, I became a dog as I wanted to experience the love of people, and suddenly it was not there anymore and I felt trapped. I thank you again for helping me, because with your love you unchained me." "You are welcome. But what do you mean, watch out? Just be aware that whenever you look for the love in people, and when they seemingly are unable to give it, that they have lost their contact with the pure love within. Just forgive them, but don't force them to get it from them. No need to look for love, for it is inside everything and everybody. So do not get discouraged when you sometimes lose it. Just look for your magical mirrors, and help will come. Can I help others by telling them about the mirrors and the love lake? No, Jana. They have to find out for themselves. When they really want to find out about love, they will have to make the same journey that you did. Just be as loving as possible, and most likely others will long to have that love too. They said their goodbyes, and as Jana walked home, she turned around and saw Bibi in the glass boat disappearing into the river of love, and then slowly the river disappeared, as it was just the street again. As Jana arrived home, she found that the babysitter was still sleeping, and when she looked at the clock, it was the same time as when she had left the house. So time had not changed. The babysitter woke up and had no idea what had happened. The only thing she saw was a happy child with a lot of light and sparkles in her eyes. The babysitter brought Jana back to her room, where Jana had beautiful dreams about the love lake. From that day on, she was not so discouraged anymore, as she understood what love was all about. What the story could bring us. Visiting other worlds and other realities in the various dimensions of our consciousness, it is another time adventure, because in our physical realm time goes much faster. So when we visit these worlds in the other dimensions, it is as if almost no time has passed when we return, like waking up from a dream. However, when we would visit our true home, our spiritual domain, we would visit a world where time doesn't exist at all. And it is in this world where true love exists. It is because of this spark of love, which is in all of us, that we get confused with the love in the physical world, which is created with an opposite. When we understand what true love means, it will be much easier to understand and work with the worldly love adventures.